What's that?
Like the mask?
No, on our desk we have a
Oh,
plexiglass
the plexi.
barrier and
I thought
stuff.
like those masks. I was going to
No,
ask you if you had a
I
windshield
can get
wiper like
one.
DX.
Yeah, there was a meme about that
Yeah.
the other day that they were ahead of their time.
I
It's
don't
just
know.
pretty funny. Like that's funny because I remember that episode.
So do I. I
Because
remember it.
that was Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah.
He was trying to read them the riot act, and they were
Yeah.
being
They're like
jackasses
1 second, and then they went and grabbed. And then they're like 1 second. They press the
and put the
going
yeah
back and forth.
yeah yeah.
A lot better than what we get on TV nowadays.
Well, that's debatable because that's kind of a stupid segment at the
It
same
is,
time.
it is, but if you compare it to like a stupid segment in 2020,
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Because and it's their fault because they did segments like that and people laughed about it, so then they kept doing stuff like that for the next 20 years.
yeah.
I mean, what do you? I mean, we got stuff like Mae Young's hand and like all this other crap. Like,
Well, we even got like the resurrection of the 2006 DX, which was they did a lot of like stupid things then, but they were really bad. Like that was like funny because you're kind of like putting down Sergeant Slaughter, whereas like saying like Vince likes and then having a rooster. You know what I mean?
you know, there's one thing I missed. I think they missed the boat on when I think about it with Triple H
What's that?
because when he did the whole COO thing on TV when he was trying to give orders and stuff to Punk, I think they really missed the boat on how Triple H was the anti-authority figure and then he's the authority figure.
Yeah.
I don't think they explored that at all, like very
I
much.
I think like Punk and Triple H had a hard time working together.
But they should have. That's the path they should have went down.
Yeah.
Because Triple H was. That's what DX was.
Yeah.
They were anti-office,
Yeah.
and then
So
in
you
his
would
office.
think, yeah, you would think like they would get along with Punk,
Well,
but he became a suit.
that's the thing, because I would think that they would have explored that more. That
Yeah.
he sold out from what he was, that what got him to the ant.
It would have been nice where he would have been like, instead of bringing in like bodybuilding terms and trying and get over like that, he should have been like, instead of saying, "Oh, you're skinny fat," which no one else knew what that meant. He should
Skinny
have
fat
been like,
ass.
yeah, he should have said to him, he should have been like, "You know what, Punk? I was where you were one day, and one day you'll be where I'm at, wearing a suit, conforming to the corporation." Right? So
Writes itself.
exactly, and you're right. You're absolutely right. They should have went down that path, and for whatever reason they didn't, and it got really combobulated, if you will. Like I, the thing that killed me in that whole summer of Punk, there was one thing that killed me, and it was Kevin Nash's right hand.
You're talking about when he interfered or whatever that was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then they started like some sort of half-ass feud with Punk and Kevin
And then they
Nash
never
and the
had the
cell
match.
phone. No, they never had the match. And then there's like the cell phone thing where he was like, "Oh, Triple H took my cell phone," or "Oh my god,
He called me and said stick the winner. I think's what it,
yeah,
if I remember.
terrible,
And
terrible."
it was dumb. Like it.
It
And
killed
then,
it killed that momentum Punk had.
well, then he has that match with Triple H, Punk. Triple H wins, then leaves. It made no sense.
And they wonder
Like,
why they're in the boat they're in right now.
well, they have a lot of nepotism.
Welcome back to another episode of the Three Falls Podcast. I'm Derek, joined as always by Professor Matt Pepper. Matt, we know who the best Canadian wrestler is, but who is the worst?
Ooh, how about we'll go with Sylvain Grenier.
Sylvain Grenier, right?
Do you have anyone that you put ahead of him?
I mean, there's Iron Mike Sharp.
I don't think he was that bad. He was an enhancement guy though.
Yeah. What about George Cannon?
Crybaby?
Yeah, I think he was Canadian. I know he used to run.
He worked at a Windsor. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think he was a good promo. That's way before my time. I really couldn't comment on that one.
All right.
Did you see him work?
Who, George Cannon?
Yeah.
I never seen him work. No, I never seen a match or anything of his. Which is, I mean, you would think I would YouTube at least something from Windsor. I don't know if there's any old stuff from like Windsor territories. I know big time and stuff.
Well, we should look that up. Now that let's put it out there. Let's find
Yeah.
some footage.
All right. There we go. All right. You can follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at Three Falls Podcast. I'm sure if you're listening to this, you know where to find us.
I would hope so. I mean, you can listen to us on any podcasting platform.
This week, we're going to talk about a bunch of topics. We're going to celebrate Bret Hitman Hart on his birthday. We're recording this on his birthday, July 2nd. We're also going to talk about Fyter Fest versus the Great American Bash.
Yes.
As well as, is WWE getting rid of NXT UK? And WWE, are they operating their first show outside of Florida soon? We'll have more info on that. But first, last week when we went off the air, breaking news broke. Of course, because that's how it always happens. We get done recording. I go inside. Yeah. I open up Facebook, and boom, news. Tessa Blanchard gone, fired by Impact Wrestling. Their champion. Adios. Matt, we saw this coming. We can't say we didn't see something like this coming. We talked about a couple of weeks ago that she might be in hot water. There was those rumors that she might be on shaky ground. It's official. She is gone.
Yeah.
We speculated before where she could land. But now that it looks like she is going to land somewhere, right now, where do you think she will end up? There's lots of rumors with her ending up in WWE. There's possible that she could follow Daddy Dearest into AEW. Will she stay in Mexico?
When she's 24 years old, I think.
Yeah, she's a youngin'.
So I don't think she's hit her peak yet. But my guess, I don't think she's going to come at a small rate. So I would imagine whatever the best deal for her, she's going to take it. Best schedule would be AEW.
Now,
for sure.
With all that being said, you said best rate. Now, with all due respect to Miss Blanchard, she is, in some eyes, damaged goods. She had those racial slurs, allegations against her a couple months back. There's talk of her having a bad attitude. Yep. With WWE, even when she had a tryout, there was rumors of her having a bad attitude. And even though they are on kind of, okay terms, I mean, do you want somebody like that in your company? Will she draw the numbers to make up for whatever baggage she comes with?
Well, if we're talking AEW, I mean, AEW's made it abundantly clear that they want an all-inclusive company. We just seen how they had punished people for past indiscretions that weren't even relative to their time in the company. So if you're AEW, do you want to run the risk of potentially looking hypocritical for allegations about racial slurs and abuse? So that's a tough one. If we're just talking talent, she'd be better than all the women in that company right now. There's not even, I don't even think that's a debate. WWE, I mean, people can say whatever they want about them, but WWE has a very good track record at shielding and doing damage control for bad PR with their talent. And WWE is kind of funny too, because they'll put statements out saying that the talent's responsible for the things they say and do. They kind of block that and to reflect negatively on them. Now, WWE does have a little bit of history with Tessa because she worked the Mae Young Classic, the last one. And the rumors out of that were that they didn't take her on because of attitude problems. So they're probably well aware of what she's like already.
Now, the thing with Tessa is, it's funny because I see a lot of this attitude problems popping up. Mm-hmm. And I read and heard a lot of interviews with people who have worked with Tully Blanchard. And they say similar things about him.
Yeah.
But with him, what a lot of his friends have come out and said, kind of defending him is, he comes across as an a-hole, but it's him coming across as an a-hole. In the end of the day, it's just he's confident. He's very confident. He's an athlete. He knows how skilled he is. He knows his athleticism, and he knows his own worth.
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel like Tessa's the same way? She's very talented. She's very athletic. She's very competitive.
I think it depends on if her confidence / cockiness gets in the way of being able to work with someone. If she just comes across as arrogant but can still work with people, then I don't see that necessarily being as big of an issue. If it's to the point where she's not going to, put someone over or refusing to work with certain people.
You're thinking of Shawn Michaels right now, aren't you?
Well, it's not just him. But yeah,
well,
he's a good example.
I know you, and I know you're thinking in your head of Shawn Michaels right now.
Well, here's the thing, right? Shawn Michaels is the only wrestler in history to be able to pull that off and not get the door.
Fair enough.
And you listen to any insider, no one can actually figure that out. I never heard a good explanation on that, because he wasn't like a huge drawing card either. He was Vince's favorite.
He should get a third ring in the Hall of Fame just for that.
Oh, they'd have to induct the Rockers, I think, for that. But that's a whole other conversation. But anyway, I would say this: if she's able to work with other talent and not have an issue with the talent she's working with, then it's probably okay. Unless more allegations come out about other past indiscretions, then it's a very difficult way to justify having her on a roster. Then the other part of that is, I would think she would be in the women's division, but clearly we've seen her as this champion of Impact Wrestling men. Do you continue that route, or do you build a women's division around her?
I would build a women's division around her.
I would too. Now, I got a question for you.
Ooh.
How do you think Tessa looks coming out of this exit from Impact?
She is very good looking. Oh, we're not talking about that.
No.
Okay. Like I said, I hate to use that term but she is damaged goods in a lot of people's eyes. She does come across as somebody that, cocky and that wasn't playing well with Impact, according to reports. At the same, it's funny because personally, I don't know, because she was in Mexico with her fiance, and apparently she didn't want to risk getting deported or something like that. I can understand that, okay? Because what a lot of people have to understand is that there's life outside of wrestling.
Yeah.
And even though it was an unwritten rule where wrestling has to be your life, in 2020, it's a lot different.
I think the issue was they asked for promos, was the rumor.
Yeah, and they asked for promos, and she didn't send. Now, there is where I fault her for.
Yeah.
Because I know if I didn't do a job or refused to do a job at my 9 to 5, I would get in trouble or fired. So I don't fault Impact at all for that. She, especially as a champion, that comes with added responsibility. That comes with, you have to carry yourself.
Do you think, and I know the pandemic really messed things up, but do you think it might have been a little bit calculated by Tessa, because her contract came up, I think it was yesterday, and they were advertising a pay-per-view match with her. So I don't know if they would have had an extension in place for her or whatever, but she essentially, I know you said she's damaged goods, but she essentially went over all the top stars in the company, all the male stars, was the world champion, never lost the title, and is now out of the company and is a free agent.
Yeah, but it's better that Impact fired her before she just appeared on AEW one week.
I'm not
during Cody Rhodes' challenge.
Oh, well, she would do the job there too. Anyone coming in, jobs to Cody.
But I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to see.
Now, just to end that, so if it were AEW, the one problem I would have for her in AEW is there's not much for her to work with. I don't think. Women's division needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
She wouldn't be working with top tier people. NXT, I mean, is a whole different story, or even the main roster. Because to me, the money match would be her and Charlotte in
For sure.
WWE.
For
That
sure.
would
But
be that would be the money match.
WWE would be the most ideal place for her to go. However, the smartest move for her is if AEW matches WWE's offer or surpasses it, is to take that contract. They want her that bad, and they're willing to pay more than what WWE could put on the table. I would be going to AEW because, yeah, you can WWE. You have so many women to work with, but in AEW at 24, 25, you can pioneer the women's division there. That's unspoken territory.
Well, the other thing too, it depends how long of a contract she'd be on. Because if she went there, let's say she went there for 2 years, she's still young. She can go to WWE after that anyway.
Exactly. But while she's at AEW, she could be like, you know what? I need people to work with. Oh, Jordan Grace contract coming up. I like working with her. Sign her. Oh, so-and-so's contract's coming up. Oh, sign them. Oh, I worked with this person in Japan. Sign them. And before we know it, AEW has a stellar roster. Now, I don't know if she wants to go down that route. I mean, you also got to factor in if AEW is like, and WWE are in the bidding war for her, and AEW is like, you know what? We really can't match, like, we only can match WWE's offer, but here's a contract for your fiance. Here's Gaga's contract. I mean,
You
a
think
lot of
that would
people
happen?
don't. Yeah, a lot of people don't think about that.
Is he under contract?
No,
Impact?
no.
I know he's worked Impact. But
And like I said, like I said it before, like she could just decide to stay in Mexico.
she could. She could. I mean, who
She's young.
knows?
She's young. She could do a lot right now. The only thing that she shouldn't do is squander her talent.
I agree.
Because you only have so many years that you can, before, you're 35 and you're doing a podcast with Matt Pepper. So,
Oh, it's just downhill from here, eh? We squandered our time.
All right. So let's move on. WWE is scheduled to hold a live Raw event in Cleveland. So what happened was the SmackDown event originally scheduled for Friday, April 17th has been rescheduled for a taping on Monday, September 28th. Now, this was put out by, I believe, the arena's website, whatever the Gun Arena or the Quicken Loans is called now.
Yeah.
So WWE's didn't come out with a press release and we're like, hey, we're moving or we're doing this. This could be something that maybe kind of leaked or something that they rescheduled thinking, hey, September will be fine, but it didn't get pulled. So it's all hearsay as for now. But if this is right, if WWE is moving ahead and on September 28th holding a live event, is it in front of fans? Is it a good idea? I mean, staying out of Florida right now would be a spectacular idea. What do you think? Do you think it's too soon?
Supposed to be September?
September 28th.
It's impossible to know by that time. I mean, I think it'd still be pretty iffy. Yeah, I mean, are you going to have low capacity, half capacity, quarter capacity? What would you actually have in the building? So is it actually is it fiscally responsible to even get an arena and have
half the
however
people
many
there?
people?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I guess in retrospect, I don't think Raw sells out 15,000 seat arenas anyway these days. I think they're probably doing 8,000-9,000 and most shows.
But can you actually put 8,000-9,000 people in there?
I guess it depends on how much distance you can have, because that would be interesting. And then and I never thought of this. So if you have a family, let's say you have 2 kids, you take them to the show. Do they have to be distant from you in the seats?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, they're in your household, so I don't know.
None of this has worked out. What if it's an empty arena? That wouldn't be very smart. I mean, unless they get a break, like unless Cleveland's like, hey, don't worry, we'll foot the bill. We just want to put something out there right now from Cleveland.
But it wouldn't make sense if you can't have people in the stands, because that hurts the building too. They don't have anybody, like a lot of employees working. They're not probably selling concessions, and
It makes no sense to have it an empty arena. It really doesn't.
No,
Because not only that,
I don't think so.
it costs thousands of dollars just to turn the lights on.
You got to figure like the performance center. It's really probably not like they own the building, so they're just paying utilities and property tax, essentially.
Which they would pay anyway.
Exactly, and they're the only thing that's going to cost them right now at the performance center is travel and production.
Yeah,
and town salaries, but they'd be paying that anyway, like you said. So I don't know. I
think this is a ballsy move to put out right now. Obviously, they didn't put it out, but 30 plus COVID cases confirmed from their testing.
We both know that WWE is going to be the first company that's going to have a show with fans. First major company. We both know this. It's going to happen, whether it should or not.
We don't even know if taping's going to happen next week.
I bet they do. I'd have a hard. I know. I'm sure they do. They've recorded 2 weeks, so they're going to have them back. I forget. It's not next week. It's the week after, isn't it?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I think they recorded 2 weeks. They should. I wish
their whole schedule was in a whirlwind tornado.
I hope that they record like 6 weeks or something. Like, what's the difference in having the talent?
Spoilers. Jim Ross is going to go. Tony Khan's going to go on AEW and spoil WWE 6 weeks worth of television for us.
Really?
You know what is spoiled? WWE NXT UK.
Spoiled.
Yeah, with all the allegations going on, we saw several members fired, several wrestlers fired, and we also saw this past week a couple referees fired, and Joe Coffey suspended. There's been a whirlwind of talks about WWE possibly just axing WWE NXT UK, just getting rid of it. There was a conference call earlier this week, which was a check-in of sorts to remind talents to be ready once the brand is ready to resume operations. That's what the rumors was about what it was, but obviously I think there's a lot of people gone. You're looking at a very skeleton crew. Would it be smarter just to get rid of UK and take the whole roster and put them in NXT?
I guess it depends if you want to move all that talent over to North America, because you're talking work visas, you're talking place to live, get them set out. There's a lot to that too.
Well, that's up to them. You say, hey, you make it to Orlando, we'll get you your work visa and we'll get you a contract.
I don't think
you're telling me they wouldn't do it? Kaylee Ray wouldn't do that? Eddie Dennis wouldn't do that?
Depends on these are people with families too, right? So they got to uproot their. I'm just saying. I think.
But what's left in the UK for them other than ICW?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what all is out there. I couldn't tell you.
Progress is on the verge of closing, which was the biggest one outside of ICW in Scotland and Glasgow, and that's all that's left.
I'll give you a good one, because I heard this yesterday. I was watching some wrestling news, and one of the suggestions would be, why not, if you're going to run a UK brand, why wouldn't you get somebody like a Harry Smith to be the head of that brand, to be the star of the show? His dad was the biggest draw in the history of the UK. Get some guys like that.
It would be smart. I like Harry Smith, but he's kind of dry. He doesn't really have much of a personality.
But that would work for that show.
Why? Are you trying to say they're all dry?
No, but it's not a charisma-based show. It's a technical catch wrestling type show. I wouldn't say Walter's going out there talking like The Rock.
Yeah, but Walter has unspoken charisma.
Harry Smith could go
Harry
in
Smith
there.
Has suits. That's about it. And
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. I'm a huge Harry Smith fan. I like Harry Smith. Mm-hmm. He would be in my company if I had a company. But I'm saying, in the grand scheme of things, looking at the bigger picture, I mean, they had him. They had him under contract. They let him go. He's come in and done appearances for them for several years, in and out, but they haven't signed him. There's a reason why they haven't signed him.
I think I don't know. I look at a guy like that. There's a spot for him somewhere. but it's just a suggestion for the UK. I don't think.
What about
I mean,
MLW?
he's.
They're losing all the roster anyway.
I mean, there's people to pick up from that show. I mean, here's the thing: only the companies with money are going to survive this thing. That's the truth of it.
It's sad.
Independents are not going to be the same, right? Wrestling schools, as we know, are going to have a major overhaul. A lot of them are closed now too. I'm not comfortable saying who would be next on the UK show because I really don't know who's out there in the independents in the UK. There could be, there's probably talent there that I have no idea about. I think the UK show, I don't know what the production is for that show. The only thing that came out was the network that it runs on the UK. I don't think they were getting as much money out of that network as they had hoped, but I imagine it's probably more than the production cost is. So I guess it depends on what the bottom line is on the UK show. If the production's not overly expensive and they're only pretty much doing TV anyway, they're not running house shows. So I don't know. I've always felt NXT is going and they want to do a global expansion in other markets and have different brands. And if that one doesn't work, then.
But that could all change. You know what? I would have
Of course.
I would have agreed with you, 10 months ago. But since this pandemic and everything, I think like things have changed. Like I think.
I think if they had that thought, that's on hold.
Oh, for sure.
There's no question. But they invested money in the UK. They have a performance center over there too.
Yeah, but I mean, you close that up. You take whatever losses you get, you bring those people to the States, put them on NXT here, on the USA network, and you just go forward. Because, like, here's the thing. WWE, whether anyone wants to admit it or not, and I'm sure a lot of people will admit it, they killed the UK scene. They signed up all the talent. They did what they did in the 80s with the territories. They signed up all the talent. Mm-hmm. They didn't close, and they didn't. By doing so, they had like a working relationship of progress, but it was kind of like venomous because it didn't really go anywhere, And I think WWE just waiting to buy out their library or for them to have the final nail in the coffin. So all what's really left is ICW. But we're looking at 5 years ago, there was probably about half a dozen really good independents in the UK. Now they're all signed. All the wrestlers are signed by WWE, or there's all those allegations and everything that would speak now.
Well, and the pandemic and the allegations, pretty much destroyed the UK. And just to segue on that, I just one note too on I seen that they're passing a law next year, in the UK, for anyone in a position of power I forget what the age gap is, can't enter a sexual relationship with a trainee or in the workplace, and that would apply to a training school. They're looking to pass that for next year because that got so much attention that now they're looking at changing laws for that.
Yeah.
So
anyway, it's a shame about if this is the end of NXT UK. And even the independents, it's a shame that it went down like this because the UK had their own brand. And I don't just mean like promotion. They had their own feel. The fans were amazing for that brand. I don't like fans taking over shows or whatever. But with that, it felt like a footy match or soccer match, as opposed to what we get in the States where, it was just a different feel. It was a good feel. It was kind of organic. It was fun.
That last takeover Blackpool was excellent. Yeah. Absolutely excellent. And you're right. That crowd. Was it the last takeover Blackpool or the one before it where Cesaro was on the show? I can't remember. But Cesaro came out and wrestled that Dragunov guy.
Yeah.
And when Cesaro came out, it was just a thunderous ovation. And oh man. So that's what I liked about that show is you could bring in some of these other guys too. And
imagine if they committed Cesaro to that promotion.
Oh, it'd be awesome.
But
I even liked, Chris Hero was a regular on, or Cassius Ohno. He was a regular on that show. And because he worked that catch style, and it worked, and I like that. I like the crossover stuff.
I
And
really
yeah, you're.
like personally. I hope we don't see this is not the end. Personally, I hope
I agree.
it goes through because it had its own style, and I think there's a lot of it that we haven't quite seen yet in NXT UK. Like I would love to see like somebody that is anti like catch style go in there. Someone like someone that's just like a Randy Orton. Imagine
Yeah,
like walking in there. It would almost be like the old ECW arena, where he's walking into like a den of wolves and all the fans hate him and he's just loving it.
he could come in and just tell everybody that he took a crap in the ring, and
I like Randy Orton.
that's
You know
what
what?
Vipers do. I love. I know. I
I'm
know.
getting, I'm going to go. I'm going to go off topic here and,
Yeah.
and profess my love for Randy Orton because he is somebody that he knows where is at and where he stands with the general fan base, and
Yep.
he soaks it up. Everyone talks about like heels not being heels, and the only one that's left is MJF. That is false. Randy Orton is one of the true heels, and he's fantastic.
He is, and he's good, even with the restrictions on him.
Yes.
Because he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Especially on social media.
And that's how that's perfect.
And could you imagine if they let the chains off him even more?
Oh my.
He'd have nuclear heat. Like it'll never happen, but if AEW could get him, do you know how much heat he would have?
You know how remember when he teased going AEW like a couple months back?
Yeah, he's talking about Sammy Guevara
if AEW signed him, if they had a chance, let's play fantasy booker. If they had a chance and they signed him, you have a feud already there with Cody Rhodes. And imagine if they did like a feud like that, and in middle of the feud, okay, like before they had a match and everything, Randy Orton's on Dynamite, and I don't know how, but he brings out Ted DiBiase and he bloodies him.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this is kind of messed up because this is a storyline about a company that, like a different company or whatever, but they already do that kind of stuff.
But it would be reminiscent of like Hall and Nash going to WCW.
Yeah.
Because he's a WWE guy, and you have a lot of things you could do with him right away. You could put him with FTR.
Yeah. Which, oh my gosh. That I wish WWE would have hit the bullet on that one.
That was a cool pairing. I had liked that too.
So while we're talking about AEW, we might as well talk about Fyter Fest right now.
Yep.
Now, did you see any of NXT at all?
I tried to watch some highlights on YouTube. I've seen a little bit of it. I really want to watch the full show. It's just we're unfortunately restricted on when we could watch it here in the Great White North. I wish they would have special on for Canada Day for us, but they did not do that. But
I don't understand why, like, as a WWE Network subscriber, I used to get NXT. Gotta wait more than a day. Wait till Friday, don't you?
It goes Thursday night.
Thursday night.
But it's at like 9, I believe.
Anyway.
Because I was hoping to go up early. I was checking all day because I knew we were going to do this and I wanted to watch the whole show. But anyway, I did see...
Any quick highlights from that?
That set looks awesome.
I was going to say that. I'm a huge mark for the red, white, and blue ropes whenever they bust that out, only because growing up, WWF always had red, white, and blue ropes. So instantly there, you have me.
Mm-hmm.
That set was awesome. Now, what did you like more? The Great American Bash feel and set, or the Fyter Fest feel set?
I like the Great American Bash set, but I do like the Daily's Place look, like in general.
Well, you're going with the arena. I'm not saying the arena. I'm saying like.
No, I know, but they had like the palm tree, not like I don't know. They had like tree stuff, and I mean they they had girls in bikinis, I
Yeah.
guess. I don't know what. I mean, I didn't really know why they did that, but
Well, it's supposed
that's
to be like
okay.
they're laying poolside, right? But
I
instead they're laying
Well,
ringside.
there was no beach or pool, but
I think they
um,
should have like glasses and do like the Ferris Bueller where they, pull them down and look over them. I
um,
really like Fighter Fest a lot more, like the feel and everything about it.
see, and it's hard for me to fully answer that without seeing the whole NXT show.
Well,
Like I,
with
I could see clips of the set and stuff, and it looks cool, but I have to watch the show for the feel. So it's that's hard.
for some reason WWE land, they think they hear, I guess it's like bash. They hear the term bash and I guess maybe they think crash, because every time they have like they used to have just the bash, which was from
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
American Bash, they incorporate cars into it. And they had cars on this one too. And when I hear Great American Bash, I think like a lot of other people, and like in the NWA days, like the summer, 4th of July, you think,
Well,
Independence,
it
but they go with like this car feel, USA
well,
car feel.
in fairness, the old bash at the beaches and the football stadiums, they would have the golf carts run the talent to the
Not
ring. So,
carts, not cars.
well, it's still an automobile.
It's only because these had like full-fledged cars in them. Like, what was the purpose of that? Like, I don't understand. Like, I missed it. So I'm going
I
to
don't
give.
know, because it was a Dodge Viper they had there. So it's like a muscle car is essentially what it is. So that was always associated with beach in those 60s, 50s, 60s movies. Muscle
What?
cars
Get
and
out of
SUVs.
here! Get out of here! No,
Just
Fighter
saying.
Fest wins. I like their field, the palm trees. They had the cool, like the big screen had like the fighter, kind of like
No, it
Fighter
was good.
Fest. And I like that, JR and Shivani were in like the shirt, like the I don't know, the vacation
A
shirts,
Hawaiian shirt.
or Hawaiian shirts, whatever you want to call it. So I
Do
really
we
gotta go there.
are we going through both shows, or what do you want to do
Well,
first?
okay. Well, I just wanted to
Good.
compare the sets, but
Oh,
any
okay. Sorry.
any main highlights from NXT? Me and you, we kind of both just kind of glossed over it. Was
So
there
I
anything that stood
watched,
out for you?
well, because it's only a couple minute highlights, so it's hard. But I did see the main event highlights, which was Sasha versus Io Shirai. I'm surprised I hadn't seen this before, but Sasha did like a power bomb into the plexiglass on
Yeah,
Io, which looked awesome. Like that was really cool. It looked like a good match. And again, need to see the full part of it, but the finish was actually pretty cool on that, where so Bailey tries to interfere, she throws the tag belt in the ring, and the referee's there, and then the referee gets involved and the arson distracted, and then how'd that work? Oh, Asuka shows up and she missed Sasha, which I thought was interesting with the COVID stuff. But she missed Sasha, and then gets the roll up, and I was like, oh, now it's gonna be another one of those roll up finishes. But then it's a false finish. She kicks out. Then she can't see, and Io does an awesome palm strike, and then does the moonsault for the win. And I was like, that was pretty cool.
yeah,
So I can only imagine the whole match.
yeah. I think
Probably,
it was probably a barn burner.
yeah, I would think so. I mean, that's again, we've talked about it before. That's one thing AEW cannot keep up with is the women's matches on the other show. But that I seen the highlights of the strap match. I don't really have anything to really
Yeah,
say on that. I don't.
that's how I feel for the most part of the highlights I watched with Great American Bash. Was that it really feel like, obviously I did not watch the show, so I'm not really saying one thing, but
Yeah.
I feel like it didn't. It looked like AEW had the better show, in my opinion.
Well, we'd have to do a follow up on that. I don't feel comfortable saying that without
Why we
getting
don't really
NXT.
talk about NXT, because we get it way
I
too late.
know it's awful. It sucks. I wish
Yeah,
I would like to actually be able to watch both, because we're just talking about AEW, right?
yeah,
So it's tough. But your girl Tegan Knox, she won the number one contenders match.
yeah.
So there's a positive for you. And then I did see the highlights of Rhea Ripley versus Aaliyah and Robert Stone, and I did want to make a note of this, and I do intend to watch this because one thing that bothers me when wrestling, when there's wrestlers to become managers, or they're not known as wrestlers in the company, sometimes if they're in the ring, they wrestle like a wrestler. Robert Stone did not do that. He
Nice.
wrestled like the whiny, like the doesn't know how to fight. Just he's getting beat up by Rhea. And she does a double submission on
Yes.
both of them. Did you see that?
I
That
saw
was
that.
awesome. That was awesome.
I just want to say, you know how you were talking about the managers and how they could be a good wrestler, but they can't, when they actually wrestle in that company or territory, they don't look like it.
Yeah.
One person that really did that stood out was Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Well, you know why? Because he wasn't really a wrestler.
Yeah, he was.
No, he wasn't.
Bobby Heenan?
He never had training to be a wrestler.
But he used to wrestle before.
He would do specialty matches. He was never an actual in-ring wrestler.
I thought he was an in-ring wrestler back in Chicago.
No, and he never trained. He never really had training to be a wrestler.
I don't know.
What's that?
It's been years since I read his book, so I can't.
He never really had, like, from everything I heard with him in interviews and other people, he never had a run as a wrestler.
I heard that he did, and
I could be wrong, but from what I recall, he never was really a in-ring wrestler.
Yeah, I thought he was.
He did matches, but
I thought he was back, and then he became a manager.
I don't think so.
That's something.
But let's look that up because we need to know now.
We need to know. So you talk and kill time while I look this up.
So anyway, Robert Stone obviously is Robbie E from Impact. He did a really good job. He did that whole running heel chicken stuff from what I can tell in the match. Rhea Ripley looked like a monster. It was pretty good. In that whole wrestle like a manager thing, I heard that from J.J. Dillon on a shoot interview because he was telling a story because he was a wrestler before he became a manager. And he did a match where he was doing hip tosses and drop downs and all that when he was a manager. And he got chewed out for it. He said that's not how managers wrestle. So he did the whole. Go ahead.
I think you're right. He did wrestle, like he wrestled everywhere he went, everywhere he managed, but he never had just a run as a wrestler.
But he was
smart. I thought he did.
But he was smart, though, because he could do the whole coward thing, and he would talk a big game, and then he'd be getting beat up and put in a weasel suit and all that. I mean, we could do a whole show on Bobby Heenan. Yes. And we could talk about Bobby Heenan forever. But yes, that's a good comparison in the sense that that's how you do a manager match. Watch any Jim Cornette match, Paul Heyman match, the same thing.
That's why I hate it when there's a manager or a referee and they get like punched or hit and they take a bump. I hate that. Why are you taking a bump? Don't take a bump. Act like you really got hit on the street. You know?
Do you remember one thing with Bobby Heenan? We're talking about NXT, but whenever he would run out of the ring, he would clear the top rope.
Yeah.
Think about that. Yeah. How athletic was he?
Oh yeah. He didn't look like he could move.
He cleared the top rope. He had one hand on the top rope, and he'd hit the apron with his other hand and flip down on. I can't do that. Clearly.
I can. I like to see you try. Anyway, so let's move on to Fyter Fest.
Yep.
We'll do kind of like a pros and cons type of thing.
I got most of the copious notes. I had a little bit of technical difficulty, like a child bothering me, so I was having a hard time finishing the notes. So I've rewatched the show, so I should be able to finish everything.
Well, tell me what you liked of Fyter Fest. Say one thing and I'll say something.
So the opening to the show, obviously you see the set. Everybody's hanging out in the crowd. I was a little surprised that they had girls in bikinis on the show because it just doesn't seem like an AEW thing to me. But I mean, obviously there's a market for that.
Why didn't they have guys in Speedos? Everyone's included.
All-inclusive wrestling.
Oh, I guess in the ring you have guys in Speedos.
There you go. So Jericho comes out for commentary, and he's got the Canada Day jacket on.
On Cherry, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna get
Wait,
to
is it
that.
cool that I say that?
I mean, that's I'm not gonna get into that, but I mean, he's a cultural icon in Canada, so why wouldn't you go there? Makes sense to me. But
He really gave me Don Cherry vibes throughout the show.
yeah, but it's JR brought that up, which I thought I popped for that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
I didn't even know.
JR brought up twice. He said at one point he goes, yeah, you got Don Cherry's jacket on or something like that, and then he brought up again, like went to commercial, came back, and he goes, and you pulled this out of Don Cherry's closet, and
Nice.
Jericho goes, yeah, props to Mr. Cherry. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. See, I hope when Jericho's done, this is a role for him, because as much as I don't agree with his comedy wrestling comments, he's perfect in this role.
Yeah.
Because he's got the personality for
like
it.
Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
Former
I agree.
Wrestler that, sides with the heels.
Yeah. So, first match. So, anyway, MJF and Wardlow come out. MJF just kills it with promo again. I
loved
mean,
his pink gear.
Yeah. MJF's pretty stiff in his promo, telling Jungle Boy he should be at home counting daddy's money in California.
Ooh.
So, there's another promo later in the show where I was listening to another podcast where people are complaining about these kind of comments, and that's the difference between me and today's fan. I grew up with hardcore digs on people.
Yeah.
That's what heels do. And they're supposed to make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's what makes them heels.
Because
then you want to
see Jungle Boy kick his ass.
Exactly. Or you just don't like him.
Exactly.
Which it works. Because people are like, oh, he shouldn't say that. My mom loves Luke Perry. But Luke Perry, great actor. Anyway, Jurassic Express comes out. So I'm going to say this. I like the first half of this match. But as we've talked about, or I've brought up, it seems like AEW is very stuck on these very long opening tag matches.
Yeah.
I think this match went a little too long. The first part of this match was really good with Heat, MJF, and Wardlow are basically cheating. Were the ref behind the ref's back. This was actually done pretty good for once. Actually, one other thing before I even start, because I was just watching this match back. I don't know if they're doing this on purpose because of the FTR stuff, but the ring did not even have tag ropes.
Really?
I didn't see them. I was looking for them, so I don't know if they're tied up in the turnbuckle or what, but I didn't even see tag ropes hanging.
That's interesting.
So I don't know. Like, you would think they would at least have tag ropes, so FTR could go on about it. So I don't know. It was weird. That being said, MJF and Wardlow actually did actual tags. No back slaps, nothing like that. When they did tag, they were mostly cheating in the first half of it. And then I love MJF. This is the one match I didn't really like MJF in.
Why is that?
Because once the tempo picked up and they were getting into that arcade style match, doesn't really fit MJF.
Arcade style match. I just picture like Scorpion, get over here.
Oh, that would be awesome. No, but they started getting into like a bunch of spots and stuff, and MJF's got to do the up tempo, even like body slap stuff, and I'm like, it's not really MJF.
Yeah.
So that's
it went
way too long.
I mean, it would probably work better in front of a live crowd, but when it started doing that, you get all these like kicks and flips and all that. When it's MJF's turn, he sidesteps it and just fucking puts on a headlock.
Yeah, he should be Steve Corino.
Yeah. Yes.
So anyway, then they get into the Marco Stunt stuff. I mean, I don't know why every match Marco Stunt's got to do something where he gets flung somewhere. It doesn't do Jurassic Express any favors when they're the babyface team. He's always getting into the match. Wardlow's going to be a star. I'll say that right now. I think so. That guy, for his size, the way he moves, his footwork's good. He looks like he's going to kill you. I haven't really heard him talk, so I can't say that part of it. But, I mean, he's going to be around for a while. Luchasaurus, I think, is very awkward. he did the same sequence of kicks about 3 times in the match, where he's just kicking the guy in the face and no pins. I didn't really get that. And I think it was Dave Meltzer said it. That's a guy that's hurt by no crowd.
Yeah.
Because,
I was
because
just about to ask you, do you think his stock has fallen since like a year ago?
Yeah, I would say so.
That's unfortunate.
To me, he needs Jungle Boy as a partner. Jungle Boy doesn't need him as a partner.
Yes. I agree.
Because Jungle Boy can do all the everything, and Luchasaurus can just come and do a couple spots, and that's pretty much it. But he looked bad. The match last week with Wardlow was very awkward. I almost think they did this feud backwards too. They should have the tag match first, then build up to a showdown between the two big guys. So I don't know. But anyway, it just went on too long, and then the ref starts actually counting people in the ring and all that, and then it just kind of whatever. MJF and Wardlow lose. Wardlow, like, MJF doesn't take a loss again, keeps him strong.
Yeah.
It was okay. I didn't really think it was great, but it did what it needed to do.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a pay-per-view match, it would have been a solid opener. I just think like these
It's too long.
These first long matches,
it's another match around the 20-minute mark again.
Just give us give us an opening match that's like 5 minutes just to get us going, get us into the field.
And I talked about this last week with the tag teams. They're going too far on the tag teams. Like, they had 3 tag team matches on this show again.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to. I know you're going to pop for this. They had an advertisement for some puppy bowl next week.
Oh, my gosh. This would have worked. This would have worked in 1999 with Jerry Lawler.
Do you think they're going to start another puppy chant?
We want puppies. They should.
Man.
They really, really should. They should get the people in the audience to start chanting that.
Did you have anything else on that tag match before?
No. I'll just say whatever I have to say as we go along. But
there was a altercation between Lance Archer and Joey Janela. This looked terrible. Janela couldn't even take his shirt off. It was ridiculous.
So is he done with? Is he done with?
Sonny Kiss?
Yeah.
No, because Sonny Kiss was trying to hold him back.
Okay, because I missed this part.
So we didn't get to talk AEW last week. I think it was last week, but Sonny Kiss, I think, has a lot of talent. I had never seen Sonny Kiss work before last week. Janela, I don't really get it. So I don't know. These cinematic things they were doing,
it blows my mind. And I always say this whenever I bring AEW up in conversation, talking about the company in general. It blows my mind that they do not give enough TV time to Sonny Kiss. Have Sonny Kiss on my TV. This is the type of person, if you want to be a progressive company, this is the type of person that you need to be pushing. I don't say that Sonny Kiss needs to be the main event or, the world champion or anything like that. At least every other week, have him on Dynamite. Have him in a match. Showcase him. Like,
I think Sonny Kiss has a lot of talent. Like,
who else is like Sonny Kiss right now?
Nobody. Now, the only thing you could say is Sonny's a little green for TV, but you got to figure him in. You got to figure Sonny in somewhere.
Green for TV. Have you seen half the roster?
I know. I know. We'll get there too. But anyway, they're gonna believe it's Archer and Janela next week.
At Fyter Fest Part 2.
Stay tuned.
I hope it's a squash match.
Me too, but I don't think it's gonna be.
And I hope Sonny kisses Jake the Snake Roberts on the lips.
That would be interesting. So next was Hikaru Shida versus Penelope Ford. This is a better match than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
They had a good promo video before the match started that really highlighted this match. So that's one thing that's missing in a lot of wrestling now is good promotional videos before a match. Because it's like, I want to watch this.
Now,
they did a good job there.
I got to say, didn't Taz break it down?
No, Taz had
He broke down the cage spot, right?
But Taz was one of the people talking on the video.
Okay, so because I really want to say something. I think that Taz thing happened after this match.
We'll get to the Taz stuff.
Because I really want to talk about that.
So, anyway, good match. She tries to destroy her right off the bat. Sabian was kicked out right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. whatever. Anyway,
I fast forward most of this match.
so anyway, I don't have a lot of notes on it, but basically they had a really long match, too long. Good showing by Penelope. She screened for TV too, but this was a pretty good match for her.
I think
don't know.
She could be a star.
I thought when I was watching her last night, I went like, hopefully eventually they break her away from Sabian and turn her to a baby face. Because to me, she reminds me in a lot of ways of like young Trish.
Yeah, she is
looks wise, athletic, like flexible, like
she is gorgeous. First of all, like
Mm-hmm.
she is one of those women that you notice right away. She's gorgeous. She's very, very athletic. If you recall back at All In, way back at All In, she was like the star of the match between Adam Page
and
Janela, where she did like those flips and all that. Super athletic. She needs work on the wrestling, obviously, but that will come with time. And if that comes with time, she keeps learning, she keeps going forward. I mean, if WWE gets their hands on her, she's a star. It's just like Scarlett. I mean, Scarlett's not as athletic, but the way that people look at Scarlett are like, their jaws drop on the floor. Oh my gosh, she's so good looking. I think people will be like that with Penelope Ford.
Well, and I think that's something that, even though we're in this progressive environment, the look is still important.
You know what? It absolutely is.
No matter what people say.
And no. It works two ways. Don't get it twisted. It does work two ways. You're telling me like Roman Reigns, like he's a good looking cat, right?
That's what I mean. The look is important.
Yeah, like it's 100%. Wrestling is all about the looks. The whole business.
What's that line that Vince McMahon says? The money is right here.
Yeah.
Their face.
The face, yeah. It's the face. It's the physique. Why don't we see enough 300-pound wrestlers like we did in the 80s,
Well, I
that
think
look like guys that you see on the street. You don't.
I think you need different looks too.
You do need different looks, but I mean, there's a reason why, these guys are muscular and handsome, and they
you look
draw
at
attention to themselves.
I mean, you look at like an Otis on SmackDown. He doesn't have that traditional body type.
No.
But he's got a lot of charisma. So there's exceptions to the rule.
He also plays an oaf.
Right.
Whereas, do you think if he had a six-pack, he would be playing that?
Well, Matt Morgan did. Anyway, the Cheetah wins. There was a bunch of false finishes at the end. That was it. I can't remember if there's a promo after this or not. I mean, we can do the Taz.
Let's just Taz. Yeah, let's, because I think it was somewhere around here.
So Taz
breaks down the.
Forget what he calls it. What that segment's called, but anyway, he breaks down John Moxley's double underhook DDT, the paradigm shift.
I love this.
And he does it in a sports-like way. He did it for Brian Cage the week before with the drill claw, and then he did it this week with the paradigm shift. And just talking about how he hooks it, how he has to hook it deep at a certain level, and he might not be able to do that with Brian Cage because of Cage's size and strength. And anyway, he broke it down like it's a sport. Like, you got to watch how he does this, because if he might not be able to execute it properly.
I love this. What do I have to do to have Taz do this every week with maybe a key match?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is what I want on my TV. Don't give me this cartoony bullshit. Don't give me this dance offs and all this other stuff. This is what I want. I want strategy talk, just like I'm watching sports, because that's what I'm interested in.
Well,
I thought this was phenomenal.
That's my problem with AEW a lot of times, is they'll have something like this, but then they'll go to the cartoon side. I agree with you. I want more of this.
I want this every week. I don't care if he's a manager for Brian Cage. I just want him to have this where every week there's a match that that's coming, or maybe up to a pay-per-view match, and he breaks it down.
To me, Taz is getting more over than Cage.
Oh yeah, for sure, 100%.
Which is not necessarily a good thing, but
no, it's not.
I like the Taz stuff.
Yeah, He's been the star. You know why it's funny? Because like Jake the Snake was really good when he first came on the scene, but now he's kind of, you don't really hear too much or see too much from him or whatever. But Taz picked it up
because they really dropped Archer. Like they dropped the
Yeah,
ball on him.
yeah. When he had that one match with Marco Stunt or whoever it was.
Well, no. Well, as soon as the Cody match happened, he's done.
Yeah, yeah. That
Like they build him up as a monster, and then I mean he's the jobber of the week for Cody. So I mean,
Yeah.
what do you do? Anyway, moving on. Speaking of Cody against Jake Hager. So, and I don't want to spend a ton of time on this match because it's a good Cody match, good wrestling, good story, like physical. So Jake Hager comes out with his wife. Cody has Arn, of course. So
I wonder what one I would have if I could choose.
So
Definitely Arn.
Yeah, well, Arn for the storytelling for sure. One thing I don't get with Cody's matches, he's the babyface in peril, but he has interference for him every single match. So Arn's interfering at times in this match, blocking Hager from different things. Hager's dominating a lot of the match. So his wife slaps Cody along the ropes. Then Dustin comes out and punches Hager in the face, which I don't get. Why like every Cody match is like this. Every Cody match, like he's not a babyface the way he does these matches.
It was like Hulk Hogan in the '80s who cheated and
yeah, but he didn't have anybody coming to ringside and hitting the heels
because he had no friends.
No, because everyone wanted the belt.
Well, Cody has a village behind him.
Exactly. Anyway, then they do a spot at the end where Hagar's got him in chokehold. Cody rolls on top of him past it, the count to 3. The spot was cool, but then Hagar thinks he won, even though they're playing Cody's music. That was kind of weak. And then Hagar beats up the ref, and I don't know. It was a little flat for me. Good match. Like, the actual work was good, but I don't know. Cody's baby face and not helping this, but best match I've seen Hagar have.
Hagar needs new tights. Like he was wearing his like boxer shorts.
Oh, I gotta tell you this. I didn't know this. Did you hear his nickname on the show?
No.
They introduced him as Rock Hard Jake Hagar.
Yeah.
I was listening to Post Wrestling today, and they actually explained what that was. I have never heard this story. So I guess he fought in Bellator last year against somebody.
Oh, and, I think I know this. Yeah.
You know the story?
Yeah, well, say it anyway for people who don't. I know exactly this. Yeah.
So after the fight...
Further reason why he needs new tights.
So after the fight, he says, I'm rock hard with emotion. I have a phoner right now. And then they asked him what the phoner was. It was a fight boner.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Don't know if that'll make error, but anyway, it's funny.
It should. It 100% should.
Anyway, moving on. Didn't have any other notes, but the next match was Private Party and Santana and Ortiz. I don't really.
Matt Hardy and Private Party. I hate that. I don't like that.
I don't get it either.
It's like the old guy trying to fit in with the kids. That's what it reminds me of.
So
I play that Night Fort. That fork knife.
So I don't know. It was an okay match, but it wasn't nothing.
Private Party won. They're number 1 contenders.
Yes, and actually that's a good segue. So they're wrestling Paige and Omega next week, and they moved the world title match to the following Wednesday because Moxley couldn't attend these shows.
Yeah.
Due to a COVID scare. So, which segues into the Taz promo, which was awesome.
Yeah.
So Taz comes out. Cage, man, I don't know. They got to work with Cage because he doesn't do it for me in the background with Taz.
No, I think I mentioned something last time we were talking about AEW 2 weeks ago or whatever about how Taz was cutting a promo and Cage was kind of like he looked so phony. He looked so out of place. Like they're in this tough location and he's like shaking his head and that. Yeah. No, all you got to do is stand there and look menacing. You know what they need to do with Cage? They need to bring back the tattered towel to put over his head.
No, the Taz towel.
That's what I mean. The tattered.
Yeah.
Wasn't it tattered? Maybe not. I thought it had like.
Well, Taz, because it's weird, because Taz is more angry than Cage is. And Taz ain't getting in the ring.
No.
So anyway, Taz cuts like a scathing promo, and he brings up how he talked to Tony Khan and how Moxley wanted to have all the wrestlers and the staff safe. And he goes, "We'll pull the curtain back. I talked to Tony Khan. I know you've had 2 negative tests." And he goes, "And if you came back, you'd have to have another one." And he goes, because here we do these things. We don't run a dirty shop," which was a shot at WWE.
Yeah.
Which was pretty. And people were complaining about that too. But again, he's a heel. So come on.
Why who cares? Like, their competition. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
because people don't like the real life stuff, because the new fans don't get it. They're like, "Oh, you shouldn't be talking about COVID. Who cares? Get over it.
You shouldn't be talking about making fun of your WWE." Bro.
So anyway.
Oh my God! Tell me, like a sports team wouldn't trash talk another sports team,
right?
Right?
Shaquille O'Neal did all the time.
Charles Barkley.
Yeah, and then he'd elbow you in the face after.
He's not a role model. Anyway, so yeah, you know what? Like, I hate that. I hate when I saw that. I was just like, okay, like, get me out of this. Why is 2020 wrestling a thing right now? Why is this a thing?
Well,
you know? Like,
the sensitivity of people is high.
What happened to wrestling? Like, what really happened? Like, how am I watching this? I'm not watching this every week. You know what I mean? Like,
let me just segue a little bit. Back in early 2000s, I was in a bar watching a WWF pay-per-view.
Yeah.
The Rock was the champion.
Oh, we're sounding old right now.
And he got screwed in a match by somebody. I can't remember who. People were cheating. He lost the title. Back in the day, people used to take their kids to watch the pay-per-views in this bar.
Yeah, same here.
This mom was with her 2 daughters. The mom got up, slammed the whatever on the table, and bolted out the door. Was so mad, and her daughters were like laughing at her. But it was. I mean, she was just heated. I miss that.
Yeah, I don't understand why like competition's a bad thing. I absolutely don't get it. Why, like, okay, I understand, like, if you don't want to go that route, you don't have to go on TV every week and, put down the competition. I understand, whatever. But, a jab here or there is not going to hurt anyone. Taz taking a shot at WWE for that, they should be. Why would you run a company during all this COVID stuff? It was going to happen.
I don't think it was necessarily the shot at WWE. I think it was because he's using that as a promo on Moxley for having COVID. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. But the whole point of it is he's basically saying Moxley is not coming. He's using COVID as a cover not to come. He took the shot at WWE and then used it as, "You're not coming because of this,"
which is good.
You should be here.
Yeah, that's a heel. Hell? What's wrong with him saying that? I don't understand.
That's a heel.
That's a heel. Like, I mean, I understand people, have lost lives due to COVID, but it's not like
it's life.
I'm life.
Sorry. Like, wrestling has always used current events.
I just don't understand it because, like, people get upset over this. Like,
yeah, but then they'll watch a TV show where they have a storyline that,
they'll go watch a movie.
Yeah.
And they'll be fine with it,
But that comes back to what I've said a couple times on this show. People don't view wrestlers as actors, and then they get sensitive about it. But anyway, they should be. I like when there's heat. So whatever. If you're going to be mad about it, so be it.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Everyone is a heel with me right now. All these people talking about all this shit.
The wrestling crowds are a lot different than they were. Even when I first started going independent, they're way different than they are now.
You know, all I want is
Way different.
one company that caters to our generation. Just one company. We don't even get
No,
that. Not one
no,
company.
no. We'll have to wait for another ex WWE employee to start a new company.
And I'm not talking about this freaking attitude era BS that everyone looks so fondly back at. I'm talking
Yeah.
about just like something that doesn't insult my intelligence.
Hmm.
I don't want to see the cinematic wrestling. I don't want to see, you know, dance offs and all these other things. I want wrestling. I want to see something that makes me believe that there's a reason why they're going into this ring. Like who says, "Oh yeah, I'll go just into the." No, you're doing it because you want to win a championship. Why do you want to win a
Well,
championship? Because you want money and glory.
well, if you want believability, we'll have to go to our main event because there's lots of it.
Let's go. Do this.
That was
Your
sarcasm.
favorite. Your
Hangman.
favorite and the guy that won, I believe he won our poll for number one Canadian wrestler, Kenny Omega.
So yeah, we ran a poll. They got 3 votes. Best current Canadian wrestler. He had 2 votes, and Kevin Owens had 1. So Omega is the poll
Best
leader
current
for best
Canadian
Canadian
wrestler.
wrestler.
You
Right.
guys say that. He's the best Canadian wrestler right now. Say it, Matt.
Our survey of 3 people, Kenny Omega is the best current Canadian wrestler.
There you go.
So the 3 people out there, that's for you. Well, the 2 people that voted for him, sorry. Anyway, Hangman Page, Omega versus the Best Friends. Best Friends came to the ring. Trent's mom drove them to the ring, which is kind of funny.
That was
Um,
awesome. It's funny because we
it,
talk about comedy and wrestling and like how we don't want our intelligence. But
but
this
that's
is
not. It's not overly insulting. Like
no,
that. Like something like that's not that. I mean, that's not ideal, but it's not. I've seen a lot worse, so it's okay. Like that. It's just a. You know what? His mom came to his title match.
I like it. I don't mind a little bit of like comedy and like goofiness sprinkled in,
If you
but
do it
sprinkled
right,
in.
that's okay.
You don't want to
That's
eat a cake just full of icing with a little bit of, you know, of the
but
stuff. Right?
like I've said before, bad comedy's still bad comedy. But
Yeah.
this was okay. It was not like offensive or in your face. It was just something that happened.
Yeah, I agree.
Page and Omega again. I don't know how many times I can say this. This match is hurt by 2 tag matches already on the show.
Right?
I've seen everything. I mean, I don't know. The Page and Trent really stood out in this match. Those are 2 guys I'd look at right there. They're probably future stars in this company as singles wrestlers. I never felt that Best Friends had a legit chance to win the titles. It was not really that
Yeah.
designed for that. They had the big win streak. They tried to build it up like this is a big match, but really it wasn't. I don't know. It was a little bit back and forth. It was. I don't know. I don't want to talk about Omega again, but it's just maybe you can tell me what I'm missing on Omega, but it's not believable at all to me. And it just the match didn't really wasn't it was okay. Like it wasn't anything, but it's not great either. It was pretty flat in the ending. Page hits the buckshot lariat, over, done. But should note, FTR came out during the match with lawn chairs and beer, and we're hanging out at the announce desk watching the match. They offered JR a beer, which was kind of funny. JR said, I'm working, I'll have one at 10:01, which I thought was pretty funny. After the match, they come to the ring to congratulate them, give them beers. Omega dumps his beer outside the ring. FTR gets mad at him. Then the Young Bucks come out to break this up, and we have another wacky, all the teams kind of jawing at
Uh,
each other again. And it's, uh, this whole, I don't know. They're, I know they're trying to push the tag team division, but they're trying to do it with no depth in the tag team division. Like to
too
me, there's
many.
no,
It's just too many matches. Like,
if the tag title match is special, you don't need 2 other tag matches before that
no.
because it's the same type of match 3 times.
Have one open the show and one close the show. That's about it.
The only team you could get away with not having the same match on the card as FTR.
Yeah. Like
And
did the
what's that?
MJ match need to be a tag team match, really? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you could have taken one of those tag matches out and maybe had another women's match. Like
oh God, don't, no, let's not be
you could have
silly.
had another singles match. That's why I said a short one.
Yeah, let's not get carried away. Where are we going to have that Freddie Mercury girl?
I don't think she can fly in right now, but anyway, it's just too much. Like, just was there any other matches on this show, or was that
I
all
don't
of them?
know. I think
Was
we
there?
talked enough about Fyter Fest.
No, because I only named one singles male match. You had three tag matches: Cody and Hagar, and Sheeta and Ford.
I think that's all there was. Like, I don't
Why?
recall.
But yeah, no. But my point is, you couldn't have taken one of those tag matches out. Had another singles match. I don't know. The way they format shows just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, show was okay. I
It's
guess
okay.
we're gearing.
It's okay because next week we're going to have 3 tag team matches anyway.
We get
I'm
an
serious.
8-man.
Yeah.
I am interested in the 8-man because I want to see what FTR can do with these guys.
Yeah. There's the 8-man, which is the Butcher, the Blade, and Lucha Brothers, who I guess Pentagon can fly in now. Versus
Well, they've been there. Yeah.
Has Pentagon? I thought he was in Mexico.
He was on the last one.
Oh, was he? Versus the Young Bucks and FTR. We also have SCU, all 3 members. It's a 6-man versus Dark Order, which is Brody Lee, Stu Grayson, and Colt Cabana.
So we got an 8-man and a 6-man. Okay.
Yeah. Still
okay.
tag team matches. Which I'm kind of interested in that because me being a Colt Cabana fan, I'm interested in seeing if this is him joining the Dark Order or if this is him going against the Dark Order. I'm hoping that
this is going to be the last match where they can convince me that this angle is actually good.
And then the main event, which you were kind of wrong when you said it earlier, but I don't blame you though. It's actually Kenny Omega and Hangman Page versus Private Party.
What did I say?
I don't know. I thought you said someone else. Maybe you did say Private Party.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Anyway, so we got those 3 matches, those 3 tag team matches. We also have Lance Archer versus Joey Janela, like you said before, and
what a barn burner.
And Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho, which I'm actually looking forward to.
I'm interested to see what Jericho could do with.
But most importantly, Nyla Rose is in action.
Yes, and has a surprise.
Hopefully, this is her retirement.
Oh,
I'm not a fan of Nyla Rose, and it's nothing. She bores me. She really does. I don't find her interesting whatsoever. So
well, that's most of that division.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so that was Fyter Fest. We'll see what happens next week. But right now, let's talk about the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. As we're recording this is July 2nd. It is Bret Hart's birthday. He is my favorite wrestler of all time. He is Matt's favorite wrestler of all time. So we're going to kind of commemorate him here and just talk about him a little bit. Matt?
Yeah, so I got my Bret Hart autograph picture right here. That is the first 8x10 I ever got.
Nice.
That was sent to me, I don't know what year that was, probably mid to late 90s.
I love the pose. I love the pose.
Yeah.
That's a classic Bret Hart pose.
He wrote on it, my name and stay cool. How 90s is that?
Does he have a belt in that? I can't see it.
No.
That's really nice though.
So first 8x10 I ever got was Bret Hart, sent to me by a family friend from Calgary. And I think he had just went to WCW when I got that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like 97, 98 when I got that. And anyway, lots of memories watching Bret. My favorite match of all time, and it's more about the time when I remember watching it, was Wembley Stadium match against Davey Boy Smith. Back then, and I'm sure you remember this, if you had satellite back then, you probably had a big property. So satellite dishes in the late 80s and early 90s were monstrosities.
They were huge. A piece of your backyard.
Yes. So our landlords used to have one of those monstrosities on their lawn. And they also had what was called a de-scrambler, if you remember what those are.
Yeah.
So basically for people that don't know and just stream stuff now.
It's how you stream stuff before you could stream stuff.
Yeah. So
Basically.
you used to have scrambled channels on satellite and cable, and you might be able to make out a picture here and there. So the scrambler would unscramble the picture for you. You could actually watch the show. So there was a lot of people that had these. Anyway, our landlords would take.
Before you go on, now that we're talking about scrambles, were you like me? I didn't have a scrambler, right? And this is
I know what you're going to say. I know exactly what you're going to say.
More towards maybe like the mid to late 90s. I didn't have a scrambler, but I loved wrestling. Would you turn the channel to the pay-per-view channel and just listen to it and try and make out what was going on?
All right. So I knew you were going to say that. And I'm going to be honest with you, no, because I never had cable.
Oh, see, I used to do this all the time. In fact, I remember doing this. One of the biggest events in wrestling history was the formation of the NWO. So imagine trying to make out everything that's going on, like Hulk Hogan walking down the aisle and then dropping the boot on Randy Savage and forming the NWO.
So, funny story. My friend had cable, and I remember he called me, and he was watching he's listening to a scrambled Halloween Havoc, and I think it was Hogan and Warrior. I think it was. I can't remember if it was, but I think for some reason I want to say they were doing the beat down on Warrior or something, and they were chanting for Sting to come out. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have a different match. But anyway, I just remember the crowd kept chanting for Sting, and he wasn't there or something like that. But I'm listening to it over the phone as he's listening to it, watching the scrambled channel.
It's even worse.
Yeah. So anyway, the story was our landlords used to tape, there's another term, on VHS, the pay-per-views, and then I could watch it the next day. And I waited all day to watch this Wembley Stadium show. I was in school, I was in grade school, get home, I watch it. I was the biggest Bulldog fan at the time, and I was so happy he won, but then Bret was my guy after that. And that match, it has more of significance for the time and when I watched it. I still love the match, but it's a lasting memory for me, and there's so many with Bret.
That happened in 92, so I was about 7 years old. Mm-hmm. I was actually in a bar watching that pay-per-view, back when you bring your kids to bars.
Yeah, I did that I did that too. Not that one, though. I didn't do that one.
Yeah. That era, because there was only 4 big events a year. So a lot of times I would bug my parents or whatever, or parents, and I would be able to go to the bar, and it was a good time. We had food, we watched it.
It's a different time, right?
It was a different time.
Would gather to watch these shows, and it was just.
Now all you do is watch it by yourself in your underwear, and then have a podcast afterwards in your underwear.
Anyway,
Patreon.
Do you remember the first time I met Bret was at Border City Wrestling? What year was this? Was that
2005?
2005.
2005. It was the first. It was the first reunion of the Hart Foundation.
Yep.
And by Hart Foundation, I mean Bret Hart, Jim the Animal Neidhart, and Jimmy Hart.
So one day I want to talk about Jimmy Hart because he's like the coolest guy ever.
WrestleLicious, baby.
Yeah. You stole my line. I was going to use that. So
no one knows what we're talking about, but we'll talk about it one day.
It's WrestleLicious, baby.
Yeah. How many times have we watched that video?
Oh my God. So the autograph line, the Hart Foundation, it was long. That line was massive. Because I went as a fan.
I worked security this event.
So I get up to the line. Neidhart's there. I forget what I was getting autographed for him. I think it was the program. And said hi or whatever. And I said to Neidhart, I go, can you do the laugh? And then he's like pulling the goatee, and then he pauses, signs the thing, gives it back to me. I was like, "You heel." It was awesome though. So then Jimmy Hart's there, and he's like, "Hey, baby, what's up?" And he is so awesome.
He is.
One day I wanted to talk about him because I met him a couple times before that. Anyway. And then Bret's there. And I got an autograph from Bret. I had an old Bret Hart Coliseum home video VHS tape. that had him sign. I watched I watched that tape so many times.
It's funny because
Oh,
at that show, I had an old Coliseum VHS that I got signed,
really?
but it was the Hart Foundation VHS.
Really?
Yeah, it was like one of the first ones that they made. Like, I mean, not the first, but it was like, an early one. And I got that signed by all three. It's one of my favorite possessions.
So Brett's like the only guy I ever really marked out for in the autograph line. I remember this true story. He signs my stuff. I took a Polaroid with all three of them, which is awesome. I look like a total hoser.
Now, we didn't know each other at this point.
No.
We
So,
we were 2 years from meeting.
yep. So I'm doing the thumbs up in the picture. And because Jimmy Hart said, I think Jimmy Hart did it. He told me to do it. So we're both doing the thumbs up.
Yeah, baby.
And thumbs up, baby. So anyway, I get Brett's autograph. And I said to Brett, I was I met people before, but I didn't really mark out. But Brett's it's on a different level for me. So I'm like, I had to stop, and I was like, I go, I just wanted to tell you this. I go, you were always my hero. And then Brett pauses, stops, and looks at me, and he goes, thank you. He goes, that means a lot to me. And it looked like it's weird with him because he's pretty genuine with fans. So I actually believed when he said that. Because other wrestlers you meet and they're like, okay, kid.
Yeah.
But Brett he's soft spoken. He's not.
He always came across like he appreciates his fan base.
Yes. Well, he does because
nice. Yeah.
It's what he has. Like that.
Now, my memories from that show, I have a really weird one. I'm not even sure if I ever told you this memory. So Bret Hart, my hero, as well. I don't think I got a picture with him at that show. However, I got lots of stuff autographed. I got a teacher, I got an actor, or whatever. I marked out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so going into that show, my aunt, I was at like a family gathering or something, and she was talking about Bret Hart coming to town. And, she's like, oh, yeah, and I think she had like a pug or whatever. I don't know. I can't remember. But she gave me this picture. She's like, can you get this picture of my pug signed by Bret Hart? Or
what?
something like that. Yeah, something like that. I don't know if I got signed or whatever. So anyway, I was like, yeah, sure. I'll see what I can do. Not even like, I'm like, okay, yeah, totally not going to happen because, okay, whatever, right? Now,
Random.
well, there's more to it. So I'm doing security. The show's going on, and I'm by the curtain, and whatever, it's going on, and all of a sudden, like out of the corner of over my shoulder, I kind of see something or whatever, and it's somebody peeking through the curtain. And I look over, and it's Bret Hart. He is just kind of watching the show, and I'm like, oh man, like what do I say to him? Like, do I say anything to him? Do I just let him be? Like, my palms are sweaty, my knees are weak. Vomit on my sweater, mom spaghetti. Anyway.
I knew you were gonna do that.
But seriously though, I'm like, but in my pocket, I have this picture of this pug. So I was like, well, there's an icebreaker. So I pull it out and I'm like, I knew he had a pug though. This is why this pug comes in. Is he had a pug at this time, and I don't know whether he like talked about it online or whatever, but it was general knowledge he was a pug lover. So I'm like, oh, yeah. So you like pugs? My aunt gave me this picture to get, show you or get autographed or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, long story short, we had a 7-minute conversation about pugs. Fucking kid you not. It was about 7 minutes. Like, it was like the match was almost done. And it had just started when we started about pugs. So I have this really weird Bret Hart story about meeting my hero and talking about pugs. I mean, you know what? It's kind of cool.
I wasn't expecting that one.
Oh, it's kind of cool. Like, I can't believe it though, because I opened up like a book or like a portal of like he was like going on and talking about his pug and how it does all these things, and how they make such good pets and how it sits on his lap and all this stuff. And all I had was a picture of a pug. But I'm trying to carry on this conversation because I don't know what else. Like, I'm not going to just, oh yeah, remember Mr. Perfect at SummerSlam '91? Like, but it was kind of, looking back on it, it's kind of cool because how many people have talked about his wrestling matches? How many people have talked about
Hmm.
him, Montreal Screwjob or whatever? And then how many people have talked about his pug at a wrestling show? So I have a cool. But with that being said, the next time I got to meet him, because I got to meet him again at a BCW event, no less, about, what was it, like 9 years later. I didn't really get a lot of interaction, but I had to get my picture taken. And thanks to my friend Holly, she actually, you got your picture taken. I think she helped both of us get in line and get a chance to meet him. And
Yes.
I got an excellent a picture of me shaking his hand. And I didn't talk about pugs, but I did. The one thing I did say to him, I was like, "You were my hero growing up. Thank you for being my hero." And he says, "Thank you very much. I appreciate that."
Yep.
So, and that was
I even.
that picture is one of my favorite pictures because growing up, I loved Bret Hart. I used to pretend I was a Derek Hart.
Hmm.
You know, I would wrestle my stuffed animals or whatever as Derek Hart, and me and my friend would play with me. We would be a tag team, and he went, "Oh, how are you Derek Hart?" "Oh, because I married his daughter and I took her last name." I had it all planned out. I married Jade and I took her last name.
Yeah, I mean that was a cool moment when I met him one other time too. I met him at Chapters on his book tour.
Yes, I did not go to that.
I was there, and then somehow Mike Punga showed up in the line beside me, and I don't remember how that happened. Um, but I remember I bought a book club shirt, or not book club, a book tour shirt at that event. It was really cool. It had all the chapters he was going to, and it was a pink shirt. It looked really cool, but it unfortunately got damaged in flood at one of my old places. I missed that shirt. But I bought his book. To me, his book is probably top three wrestling book ever written.
Yeah.
In terms of the detail and the stories that were in it. His book was excellent. I would say in terms of detail, that book, Mick Foley, and the Dynamite Kid book are probably the best wrestling books I ever read. But his book was very lengthy and very well written, and I felt like I knew a lot more about him reading the book than I ever thought. He had a real connection with his fans. It's so strange when I think about it now. He could do things in the ring and acknowledge the people in the stands. Like he have a guy in like a arm bar and he look at the crowd and wink at somebody, or he have a
Yeah.
little smirk, or he was so gifted like that. And he's one of the last, I wouldn't say one of the last, but there hasn't been too many wrestlers that bell to bell he could build the story to that climatic finish, whether he was winning or not. He had layers to his matches.
Yeah.
He had that old school storytelling ability, which is a lost art now. There's a very few guys that can do it. Very few talents that are able to actually do that. For my money, the best in-ring worker I ever saw is Bret Hart in terms of that story bell to bell. We could sit here all day, talk about all the great matches he had. The
Stone Cold Steve
97,
Austin, WrestleMania 13, brother.
and then if you think about it, and I don't think he gets enough credit for this, is how many guys he got over and put over the top. You could go back to Wembley with Davey Boy, that series he had with Owen. He put Owen on the map. WrestleMania 10. Then they had the cage match at SummerSlam. Shawn Michaels, he put him in the main event spot. Put him over in the main event spot. Steve Austin.
Undertaker. I mean, like
Yeah.
the SummerSlam '97 match, which with the Undertaker with Shawn Michaels as a referee. I don't think that match gets enough love.
No.
And the thing with Bret is that he could work with everyone, like different types of people. He could work with somebody like the 1-2-3 Kid who's fast and athletic and agile, or he could work with somebody who's slow and huge like Yokozuna, or a big man like Diesel, or somebody that is about maybe his size ish like Shawn Michaels.
Well, that 1-2-3 Kid match, probably one of the best Raw matches of all time.
Oh yeah.
X-Pac puts that over. He put it up because I think the anniversary of that was yesterday.
Yeah.
And he says that's the best match of his career. So, I
And
mean,
it was. Name me a match better than that he has had.
X-Pac?
Yeah.
I can't think of one.
No, that's it.
No,
Unless you count the Crybaby match with Razor Ramon.
I do not. That was I actually forgot about that. Thanks for reminding me. Anyway, I mean, there's so many things with Bret. The 97 heel turn, Hart Foundation.
Canadian Stampede.
That's one of the greatest events that's ever happened. If you want to go back and watch that match, that crowd is just unreal. Absolutely unreal. When they intro each one of them individually, by the time they get to Bret, it's just like that match is, and I'm not saying the match itself was like, the best match ever, but that atmosphere is the best. That angle was so hot. That rejuvenated me as a fan of wrestling that year because I was in and out in '96. I didn't really watch a lot of '96 when it happened.
You missed TL Hopper's best matches on Raw.
Yeah, exactly. I miss those days when Hunter Hearst Helmsley was jobbing to Duke the Dumpster Drosy. I mean, those were great times. But no, but '97, the Hart Foundation, to me, that really jump started wrestling because there was a lot that it was just hot. I don't know how else to explain it. I was, I loved every minute of it. There was real heat. There was just, those were the days.
Yep, those were the days.
Bret, I can't think of a wrestler that I had that kind of affection for since. And it's very weird because he retired in 2000. So we're talking 20 years now that he hasn't wrestled a match, right? And I think, in 20 years, there's a lot of new fans that wouldn't have got to see him,
He once said, though, that a lot of people that are young still know who he is. And he'll ask, like, oh, how do you know me? And they're like, oh, my dad has the video game, or I have the video game and you're in it.
Yeah.
Or my dad watches this and you're,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, and you wonder what would have been too if his career didn't end abruptly because who knows?
Well, it's kind of like when we were talking about, when we reviewed the Owen Hart Dark Side of the Ring, we were talking about Owen, but the same could be said for Bret. Had Bret went back to WWF or, even still, I guess he was in WCW, so I guess it doesn't really work out that way. But
yeah, but it's hard to say because, and I looked this up one time, and I don't quote me on the numbers, but WCW at the time, like they were doing high 3s and 4s on the rating, and they dropped significantly after he got hurt. He had a fan base that watched for him. Oh, and yeah. I'm not saying they wouldn't have went out of business, but they did lose viewership when he got injured because while they had well-known stars, the show was not good. So it was very difficult to keep viewers and attract new viewers at that time. But he would have wrestled with WCW probably another couple of years.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if he would have went back to Vince, providing the Owen stuff didn't happen, he probably would have worked another 5 years, I would think, at least. He was still in good shape.
Yeah.
Who knows, man? It's hard because, again, he was...
Imagine him leading the WCW invasion.
Oh. Right?
Yeah.
Now that would have been a twist.
Yeah. Well, regardless, he's our hero. He's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. He's the excellence of execution. And as far as this week goes, let's execute this podcast. You end the podcast.
I'll end the podcast this week?
You end it.
All right. Well.
You can follow us. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram at Three Falls Podcast. I guess we could stop telling people that they could hear us, on Spotify and Google Podcasts and iTunes and Stitcher and iHeartRadio. But you can. I'm Derek. He's Matt. Have a good week, everyone.